Buffs? Blank said. What do you mean when you say buffs? Like magic. And how long were you watching us? B looked around bashfully, then shrugged. I heard a bunch of noise while I was in the vents. You were supposed to be running. When I realized you were fighting instead, I followed the sound until I was above you. I got there just before you did that backflip. She winced. That acid, or whatever he spit into the air, almost got me a little bit. B chuckled nervously, noticing the increasingly annoyed expression on Blank's face. Hey, why were you talking so much to that thing? Cracking jokes? Were you enjoying yourself? She tilted her head. You're kind of weird, dude. Huh? Blank huffed out a deep sigh, rolling his eyes so hard it looked like they might pop out of his skull. Could you stay? Right, B said quickly. Where's your other shoe, anyway? She snapped her fingers. I saw, what did you call him? Chucky? Chuckles, Blank corrected. Right, Chuckles. He was holding you against the wall, about to eat your face off, and she hesitated, struggling for words. I just got this feeling while I was watching you fight, like I was supposed to be doing something. Then it just happened. I felt this pressure building all around me, but it didn't feel like it was for me. B reached one hand out toward Blank without realizing it. I just thought about making you stronger. Then I got hella tired. It didn't last long, though. She avoided eye contact. Oh, B said suddenly, changing the subject far too fast. I also found these. She pulled out 2 boxes of potato Oatly O's. Everybody's favorite cereal, she exclaimed. And healthy too, she added with a wink. Why are you talking like that? Blank asked between spurts of chuckles. It's a breakfast cereal made of potatoes or oats. Yep, B said, keeping up her exaggeratedly cheerful pitch. But not just a breakfast cereal, you uncultured twat. This is a gourmet meal captured in biodegradable containers that can and should be enjoyed at any time. It is the perfect dish. She almost screamed the last part. Okay, all right, Blank said, pumping his hands downward. If I try some, will you calm the hell down? How much sugar is in that stuff? B just stood there, eyes wide, wiggling her eyebrows. Okay, Blank muttered. He took one of the boxes and inspected it carefully. Potato Oatly O's. His eyes drifted to the mascot, a bear of a woman in a janitor S outfit. Pale greenish skin, thin, spindly hair with way too much scalp showing, a long, bumpy nose. Next to her was a speech bubble. Just add cream. The ingredients look normal enough, Blank said slowly. But who is this? Oh, that? B said casually. That's the potato witch. Don't let her catch you without cream. Then you're in real trouble. She leaned in and lowered her voice. I actually eat my potato Oatly O's without cream sometimes, but that's between us. She glanced around. Plus, it's not like we have a bowl. There, Blank said. It sounded more like a question. We also don't have cream, he added with a nervous laugh. Oh, I found cream too, B said. It's also the trademark Potato brand. Blank paused mid-bite. Is this something you ate in the past? Did you get some memories back? He asked, mouth half full. This is actually pretty good. Yeah, B said. I got a little something back. Not much, though. As they talked, they made their way downstairs toward the commotion. Neither of them wanted to go that direction, but the explosions had died down. Blank decided it was safe enough, or at least as safe as anywhere else in this place. B agreed. She mostly returned to her normal self as they walked, only occasionally dropping random facts about potatoes and oats. They also briefly went over their strategy in case they ran into strangers or danger. Blank had expected the area to be damaged. He wasn't prepared for this. The floors, walls, and ceiling were coated in deep burns that only intensified the farther in they went. The hallways were still warm, likely from whatever caused the explosions. Chunks of wall and ceiling periodically fell around them. I think your friend is toast, B said, grimacing. She immediately noticed her poor choice of phrase. I'd rather be sure, Blank replied. If what you said about your buff earlier was true, maybe he has some kind of power too. That mean chick from earlier clearly had something going on. And I don't feel completely normal either. He swallowed. Maybe nobody here is. We all could have been brought here because of our freakish powers. For all we know, he could have done all of this. B slowed, hunching her back and creeping forward with bent arms like a cartoon monster. Yeah, you're not making me want to keep looking for this guy. I'm not getting my hopes up, Blank said, taking a deep breath. But think about it. If he can do all this, wouldn't we be safer with him around? B stared at the ceiling thoughtfully. Better. But I feel like if he's protecting us with whatever this was, we're probably dead anyway. Blank smiled, finally noticing her weird gait. Yeah, you're probably right. Hurry up before I leave you. B clenched her fists, muttering low obscenities as she picked up the pace. They walked for over 2 hours without seeing any signs of life, unless you counted the increasing heat, which almost seemed to pulse. If Blank was being honest, there was no real reason to follow the heat. The idea that the guy he met earlier that day caused all of this was ridiculous, but so was everything else he'd seen today. And he didn't have a better idea. Of course, he wasn't about to tell B that. Like moths to the flame, Blank thought, snorting a laugh.
I think this heat is getting to you, big guy, B said.
We should probably stop, Blank whispered, thrusting an arm in front of her. She pushed it aside.
Seriously, we're not... No, I mean stop. Blank pointed ahead, and there's a dim light up there. That's not the alarm. Wait here.
He moved forward slowly, unknowingly doing his best creeper walk impression. B cursed softly behind him, but he didn't dare look away. At the end of the hall, Blank pressed his back to the wall and peeked around the corner. The light shimmered brighter. He moved again.
Faster now.
Back against the crunchy wall, breathing hard. Whatever was ahead, it was right there. Just as he was about to look, skittering footsteps echoed behind him. Holy! Blank yelped. Is it him? B whispered. Blank spun furious. Do they not hit children where you're from? He snapped, making choking gestures at her. She doubled over, barely holding in laughter. Try me, asshole, she wheezed. With a sigh of defeat, Blank looked again. 2 massive doors stood open at the end of the hall, one barely clinging to its hinges. Inside, small flames flickered everywhere. Just outside his line of sight stood a demon. Its shadow stretched across the wall, horns or antlers jutting from its head. Blank wanted to run, to scream. Anger boiled up inside him. Then reality cracked. Chunks of the air shattered like glass, peeling away with a suctioning pop. In the center of it all opened a black-purple hole. A middle-aged woman tumbled through, purple skin, darker purple hair braided thick over one shoulder. She looked utterly confused. When she saw Blank staring, she screamed. So did he. A split second later, the wall beside them exploded. The freak Blank had assumed was dead burst through, shoving the woman torso first into the portal with its jaws. Only half of its body made it through before reality snapped shut. Its lower half hit the floor. And standing just a few feet away was Devon.
Blackness. So dark. My palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Devon lay in a dark room, confused, unable to move. After a few minutes, sensation returned. He opened his eyes and coughed out a laugh. All right, that helps a bit. The darkness lightened slightly. A dim red glow pulsed somewhere nearby. He didn't bother turning his head. He was too tired. He wanted to sleep, but something in the back of his mind screamed, don't. Pain flooded in next. His head was the worst of it. Gah! An alarm rang. Soft, distant, then louder. Then louder. Shit! Somebody needed to turn that thing off. The pain pushed him to move. He wiggled his foot. Success. Then dread hit. He hadn't moved it. Something else had kicked him. Memory slammed back into place. The explosion. The grocery store. The fall. Devon shot upright, immediately regretted it. Oh yeah, that sucked. He found himself in a dark gymnasium, red lights flashing. Alarm blaring. He looked up. Yep, that'll do it. Blackness. So dark. My palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Devon lay in a dark room, confused about where he was and why he couldn't move. After a few minutes, his senses started to come back to him. He opened his eyes and coughed out a laugh. Devon, all right, that helps a bit. The room, while still too dark for comfort, started to appear a bit brighter. A dim red light pulsed in and out from the corner of his eye. He couldn't quite turn his head to look at it, but he was in no rush. He was unbelievably tired. He wanted to go back to bed, but something in the back of his mind kept nagging at him. He should get up. Sleep was a bad idea. He must be late for something, he thought, but he couldn't figure out what. As he became more aware of his surroundings, He also became aware of the pain throughout his body, his head being the worst culprit. Devon. Gah! He tried to curse but was still too weak for even that. His alarm started ringing, soft and distant, but it got louder. And louder. Shit, he thought. Somebody had to turn that thing off. The ever-increasing pain in his head gave him newfound motivation. He moved his foot. Devon. Success. Now more worried than confused, he tried to compose himself and gather his thoughts. He hadn't moved his foot, someone kept kicking it. His memories of the day started to come back. The explosion in the grocery store, the carnage that followed. He gasped, sitting up immediately. Glad that he was able to, less glad that he decided to. Devon. Ooh, that sucked. His arms behind him on the ground to help him balance. He looked around again to find himself in a dark gymnasium, a menacing alarm assaulting his eardrums, along with a red flashing light. He looked up to see the hole that he fell through. Devon. Yup, that'll do it. Gah! He noticed the lanky lizard man impaled by a large metal rod. Not too far from him, one arm stretched out unnaturally, grabbing his leg. Devon, startled again, had sudden movement causing his body to remind him, No, 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 you don't get to move like that. Devon. God damn it! All right, nice and slow. He scooched his body back a bit, inwardly pleading that the hand attached to his foot, or more so its owner, stay dormant. Just a few seconds later, he was free. Whew! Devon released a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. That relief quickly left as soon as it came. The noise from the alarm had stopped, which his massive headache was grateful for. But the noise that replaced it was unsettling, to say the least. He felt as though something was watching him. The red lights from the alarm were still present, flashing periodically. And as they did, he could swear he saw shadows moving in the distance along the walls, among the debris of the fallen ceiling and other rubble. He hoped it was his mind playing tricks on him, that he was just being paranoid. It was totally reasonable for his nerves to get the better of him under these circumstances, after all. I'm willing to bet my life on it, he decided. It was about time to get mobile. Slowly but surely, he started making his way back to his feet. A piece of rubble fell nearby. Back on his feet, he looked around vigorously for some kind of night stalker, and more importantly, something to hit it with. He grabbed a piece of rubble. Thinking a rock was better than nothing, it crumbled, just a chunk of drywall. More skittering to his right, just out of view. He turned his face, finding nothing but shadow and debris. Devon. Haha. Okay, you're not even trying to hide it now. A light slash landed on the back of his head, a strike that would have landed on his neck if he hadn't moved at the last second. He turned and received another slash on the back of his thigh. As he stumbled, another landed on his arm and back simultaneously. None of the cuts seemed too deep, but that knowledge offered him little comfort. As the wounds accumulated, he started to think of a different time. In a cave, voices, familiar yet foreign, arguing about something trivial. About who should have done what, and whose fault it was that the giant bats had them surrounded. I told you bitch was leading us into a trap. A booming deep voice shouted. Isn't it your job to detect nearby threats? Replied a nasally male voice. But he wasn't wrong. We shouldn't take tips from people like her boss. 3 more people joined in the pointless debate as danger closed in. The voices meshed together, not one giving time for the others to be heard. Back in reality, the camera pans back just outside the room Devon's in. Blood splattered the windows of the double doors as the red lights continued to flash, apathetic to the carnage happening within. All the while, screeching chirps sounded off from within, like mice, louder and louder. I'm telling you, if we'd just gone with my... Devon, enough! The room exploded in an instant. The 2 doors opened violently, one almost falling off its hinges. And inside, all that was left was a man on fire, barely standing, grabbing his head, the throbbing pain only getting worse. Moments later, howls and screams echoed from outside the room. Devon stood up straighter, looking toward the door with contempt. 3 words no louder than a whisper. Devon. Let them come. Devon. I don't think any of them were as big as that lizard guy we fought. But there was a shit ton of them. Mind you, at least half of them died before they could get close enough to touch me. And the ones who didn't weren't in great shape. I'm not sure how my clothes managed to stay on. The hotter I got, the better I felt. I'm not even sure if heat is the best way to describe it. It felt rejuvenating. Blank. Yeah, you don't look injured at all. Maybe you should try giving me some of that. B. None for me, thanks. The little girl stood more than a few steps away from the two men, talking casually about their life-threatening fights and comparing sizes, as one does. Devon laughed, leaning his back against the charred wall and sliding down for a sit. Devon, I'm not sure I could do it again even if I wanted to. It was soothing but exhausting. I could go for a nap. Blank, I hear that. Following Devon's lead, he took a seat across from him on the opposite wall. Blank, I feel like I've been operating on just pure adrenaline until now. B, okay, we all love sleepovers. But this hallway ain't doing it for me. Blank, you heard the man. Anything that was down here is already burnt to a crisp, or at least no one dumb enough to follow their brothers and sisters into the fire. We should be good. B walked up to Blank with her hands on her hips. B, if they're smart enough to know that, they're probably also smart enough to know that you're too tired to fight back. Or maybe something that wasn't on this floor decides to, I don't know, come check out all the noise. Hell, I could kick both your sorry asses with one arm tied behind my back. She kicked one of Blank's bent legs straight, earning her a scornful look from him and an approving laugh from Devon. Devon, you know what? She's all right. Give it a minute, said Blank half-jokingly. Blank, but you're right. With one hand on his knee and the other against the wall, Blank made his way back to his feet, walking over to Devon to give him a hand, but needing two to get him standing again. Blank, where to, Chief? The two looked at the little girl expectantly. B, and why the hell would I know? Blank, come on, he said, letting out an exaggerated breath. First you make me stand, now you want me to think. Devon walked past them both. Devon, come on, smells like ass down here. And whose fault is that? Mumbled B under her breath. The trio walked for about 30 minutes, talking more about their experiences, still somewhat on alert due to their creepy surroundings. None of them had any clue as to who that purple girl was, or why she was so afraid of Blank. Seeing as she was surely eaten by now, she was probably of no consequence at this point. Finally, after about 20 more minutes, signs of the scorched earth left behind by Devon seemed to lessen. Blank, I could have sworn you had antlers or some shit. B, how about in here? She said, pointing to a door. Blank, why there? B, why not? Pause, I don't know. I just get a good feeling about it. Devon, sounds good to me, he said while going through the door. You got any more of those potato Oatleos? B, they're good, right?